Yeah.
It is like forward through the email. Hi, Paulina.
No. So honestly, he's actually texting. Okay, this is the funny part. He texted me through Instagram. He DM'd me.
Okay.
I put myself in a very intimidating situations, and I learned how to cope with it. So that when it comes by time, like for in the boardroom, are you scared? Of course, who doesn't, right? It's very intimidating. But the key is
Hi everyone, welcome back to Joseon Talk Southeast Asia Bright Side, where we will share with you a person, business, and life insights in the regions. Thanks to our media and community partners who have been supporting us. They're coming from various industries and some from abroad. So please network with them. Check more information on the comment sections below. So we have Paulina on this episode. She's kind of, Netflix actress right now because she's on the series called The Apprentice, One Championship Edition that is currently booming on Netflix. So if you don't know about this, please Google it because it's really freaking amazing. So let's say something to her. Hi, Paulina. How are you and how's everything?
Hi, Joseon. I'm good. Thank you for inviting me. Good times.
Great. Thanks for your time. And so good to finally meeting you because I watched the whole Netflix, The Apprentice edition just in 2 days. And you're really inspiring a lot of Indonesians.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in Singapore right now, right?
Yes, I'm in Singapore right now. I've moved to Singapore about 3 months ago.
3 months ago. So previously, you are working online or how is it?
Yeah, so I started working at 𝗵𝘃𝗶𝗹𝗶. So for you who doesn't know, I didn't win the competitions, but after the competitions, I got a call from 𝗀𝗏, the host, and he actually offered me a job. So I technically started working with him on August last year, but I was supposed to fly into Singapore in August, but then the entry approval because of COVID, it was only
got it.
Only got approved in November. So I was working online for about August, September, October, November, 3 months. So 3 months online, and then now I'm here physically in Singapore working for them. So technically, I've been working with them for 6 months. Yes.
I see. So how's Singapore treating you so far? I hope you don't miss things like nasi padang, or the gorengan, or like.
Of course, you know what? After 3 months, it kind of kicks in because a lot of my friends in Instagram was like, my friends in Indonesia. I mean, saying like they're eating bubur ayam, they're eating like bakso, and I'm like, oh god. So I of course right now I'm sort of missing Indonesian food. Yes.
Yeah, I hope you can come back to Indonesia soon and enjoy every good things in Indonesia again.
I hope so. Yeah.
All right. So Paulina, you're on the show as the only representative from Indonesia. You were in the top 5, which is inspired a lot of Indonesian. Now you become famous. The show is watched by many people around the world. So how is life after your graduation from The Apprentice, especially since it's booming on Netflix?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, how should I say this? It's amazing how people can take a lot from the show, right?
Yeah.
And for us, it's real. It's literally, it's not scripted. Everybody's being themselves, including me.
I see.
And then after the show is aired, and I started getting messages from people all over the world, not only Indonesia. I mean, of course, of course, Indonesian would be proud that there is one Indonesian actually represent the country, of course, right? But surprisingly, it's not only from Indonesia. Even I think the most, not random, I would say random, but far, I think Namibia. Somebody from Namibia.
Wow.
Yes, Namibia.
Wow, great.
It's just amazing. I mean, I didn't try to show anything in the show. I just being myself, it's just great feeling to feel how people can catch a lot of good values from it and see how is my move, and I didn't even do any drama or whatever. And
I can see that. I can see that. Surely.
Yeah. Or maybe that's why I got eliminated. Not enough drama. But anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, life is good. It's just very, very rewarding to hear these positive messages, and a lot of them saying like, it really gives a lot for them. It's inspiring, and it kind of moves them in a way. So it's very, very rewarding to hear that. Yeah, to be honest with you, yes.
Wow, great. I'm very happy to know that. So, this is, I'm sure, that a new phase for you. How you manage this change? I mean, you moved to Singapore, you suddenly become famous. So many, messages on you. Is it like you walk on in the mall, and then people ask, "Hey, Paulina, I watch you on Netflix. Let's take a selfie a bit." Is it like that?
Thank God to mask, because we have to wear mask, right?
Oh, I see.
So no, I think there was only one time in Indonesia when I was doing registering something before I leave, and then the guy who's helping me with the registration, he's like, "Are you Paulina from The Apprentice?" I'm like,
okay.
"Oh,
Okay.
But here, not on the street, but like I started to. This is just funny. Like before the show aired on Netflix, of course I put my full names in media's like marketplace, right? If I buy something, or if I, you put your full name, right? So I did that, and then I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I wanted to buy something, and then after the transactions, the person who I bought the item is actually saying, "Are you from The Apprentice?" And I'm like, "Oh shit." Since then, I changed my name.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Wow. Okay, great. I wonder how does it feel, but it's such a great journey for you. So The Apprentice is a great show, and I watch the series in the UK, in the UK version, in the USA as well. And surely I want to know a lot of behind the scenes of the show. And one question that intrigues me is that how come you got fired and then hired by Ch$ṭrì? It's just really rare. I mean, never seen it, or a very small case in other type of apprentice, right?
Yeah. Well, I think how should I say this? At the end of the day, it's a TV show, right? There can only be one winner, right?
Yeah.
And it lays so much on luck as well, right? If you stumble in one episode, you can go home, but doesn't necessarily means that you don't have the quality, right?
Yeah.
So I think to be honest with you, when I was eliminated in that episode, and I was just so close to the end, right? I was so close. And I was actually quite confident on at least at least I can be the final.
Yeah,
I have that feeling. So when my name was said in that table saying that, "I'm sorry, Paulina, you're not the one," I was heartbroken. I was like, I was very, very, but at the same time, somebody said to me this, and I just noticed, somebody who's the audience actually. So after it's aired, and then somebody said to me, "Do you realize when he fired you, it's his face that's heartbroken, not yours?"
Yeah, I see that because his body language is changed. He kind of showed that type of sign, and Kuya Louis, the candidate from the Philippines, is almost crying. And how many people cry when you?
Everybody.
What?
So actually, when I got eliminated, I think the episode it shows how I cried a lot, especially the interview after. It's because when I walk back from the boardroom, and all the production crew is on the back. Production crew meaning the camera guy, producers, makeup artists, wardrobe, all are standing there. They're looking at me. with cry, like with tears, and then they're hugging me. So that's what makes me like super, super like, oh my God, like,
wow,
like that's what it wasn't expected. Like everybody was like, oh my God, we really didn't expect, like we thought you're gonna win. So it was not easy. And to go back to your question, when I went home that day, no, so after that I went back to the backstage. If you got eliminated, normally you will be immediately isolated in a room, like you cannot meet the other candidates. So to make like a serious
at that time, right?
Effect. Yes, at a time. So when like for example, when I got eliminated, they would put me in a room. I wouldn't be able to see the others right away. So I was sitting there waiting for to be moved after. And then 𝗀̱ chị came and then he hugged me and then saying like, you're not, this doesn't mean you lose. This doesn't mean like you're not competent. This doesn't, you're so special, and etc. etc. So of course it puts me my confidence back. And I, going back home, I have this tiny little bit feeling in my head like, I think he regretted this. I have that very, very strong. Strong, like I think he regretted this, and it's true. So when it got aired, not on Netflix, but last year, it was aired on AXN and several local TVs in some countries. So after half of the episode, I think he called me and then saying like, how are you and all that, and then like he told me how he actually wanted me to win, all that, and at the end of the day he offered me the job. So I'm like that. Yeah, that's where I'm like, see, he regretted it. Wow. So long story short, now I'm working for him. So all good.
Okay, that's a great approach of leadership by him. He went to your room and hugged you, give you encouragement. So is it like he called you immediately just to offer you a job, or it's just like far away through the email? Hi, Paulina.
No. So honestly, he's actually texting. Okay, this is the funny part. He texted me through Instagram. He DM'd me.
Okay. That's how I DM my current wife as well. That's how I do that.
Anyway, so started from there, like, hey, I want to talk to you. There's this opportunity, and I feel that it's going to be a good fit for you. So starting from that, we arrange a call. So the next day we have a call. Like he called me, and then there's and actually, so when he didn't know that actually I already started work. So I went back to Indonesia.
Right, just like right away back to Indonesia.
Yeah, so way back to Indonesia, and of course I started to search for jobs, right? So I didn't win, and I left my last job, and I was working for I was a chief commercial officer for Harvest Group. It's a huge local bake shops. It is a huge one, and they're expanding, so they need a CCO. So they hired me. So I actually was already working for them. So when he called me, he said, "Hey, how are you? How's life?" And my answer to him was like, "Oh, I'm good. Well, the last time we met, you said I'm not the one."
That's a good joke, by the way.
And he laughed. So and then I told him that I already work. I'm working somewhere else, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." That's what he said. Because we have this contract. Once after the shoots and after everything is aired, we cannot say in public what we are doing, so that media would guess. So that's why it's not very obvious for people if I'm working or not. But I was working. So he said, well, I'm putting you in a hard position now, aren't I? And so I said, yes. But in the end, after several calls, after some thinking, I've given it a great time thinking and all that. I think I don't dare say no, because I think the man has a very great values in life as a leader, as a entrepreneur, as a business person.
Yeah.
And to begin with, that's why I joined the Apprentice, right? So
Yeah.
yes, I did not win, but then he offered me to work with him and I can be mentored by him.
Yeah.
Why would I say no, right? So, and right now it's, I think, you know what? So that means I quit 2 jobs for him.
Right? Oh, yeah. Obviously, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And then the second time is actually to work for him right now. But by far, I think it's meant to be. You know, like it's meant to be. The journey that I went to the Apprentice. I learned so much from him in the show and from other candidates, and then I did not win. And then I have time to think about my moves and why I got let go and all that. So I got thinking and all that, and then he called me. So I think it's a process that I have to went through. And in the end, I think it's meant to be, and it's I'm glad on where I am right now today.
Wow, great opportunity, great story. So I see. I read a lot about Charteris and visually observe his leadership style on the show. So how is he in the real life? Is it like are you giving direct report to him?
Yeah. So I don't meet him quite often because I work for 𝗵𝗃𝗃.
Yeah.
He owns 2 companies, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 and onechampionship. So technically, I reported directly to the managing director of 𝗵𝗃𝗃, and the managing director of 𝗵𝗃𝗃 reports to him. But we do communicate directly. Yes, things like that. And talking about his leadership, from what you're saying, what you see in The Apprentice is real. He can be like that.
So he didn't direct it. You mean? I mean, nobody gave him advice. This is how you should act, like this, or this is how you should dress.
I think he listened to not directions, but he hired people to in their fields to actually give him advice, right? So he listens well, but of course he also somebody who has a very long vision, very confident and visionary on bringing whatever he thinks the business can go forward to, and make the teams working for it, and usually it comes to reality. So he's that kind of leader. And one thing that I catch from him is that he just have a very, very good value in terms of people. So one thing about 𝗵𝗃𝗃, the company that I'm working with right now for this company, they really are being careful on selecting people to join the company. So it's not only about the mind. They really care about people with good values, good hearts, and because it's really something that they put on their heart, their core company values. And that's why I think I'm in the right company right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I was thinking like just keep the whole tough recruitment process, and he send you a DM, then you get hired. Wow, that's amazing. You need to earn trust. From your stories, from the show as well, you earn a lot of respect from your teammates, from the Charteris himself, from his right hand. And actually how you describe yourself, or how people know you as Paulina.
Okay, in the show, to begin with, it was not easy because you don't have any background that people recognize. People meaning the other candidates, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they do ask like, what was you doing? But they don't really care because everybody wants to win, right? It's different in the real life. I mean, in real life, when I'm working in a company, of course, people know who I am, right? And of course, your team will respect you by nature because you report to this person, right? But in the show, nobody reports to anyone, right? Even when you're a project manager, you have to earn your respect. You have to earn your trust, right? It's not that, okay, now I'm the PM, you got to listen to me. It's not like that. So if to answer your questions, I think it comes to a level where, how should I've been a leader for so many.
Yeah, I saw that on your LinkedIn. That is a fantastic CV.
And not even on CVs, but when I was a kid, one thing that my late dad taught me is leadership. So I remember even when I was still in kindergarten, kindergarten, not even elementary school, kindergarten. So if I go back from school, usually parents would ask you like, hey, what did you play today? Right? That's like the natural question. So my dad would ask, maybe he asked that too, but he also going to ask like, what did you lead today? So
what did you lead today? Wow. That's a great parenting. I'll do that to my son. Seriously, thanks for the advice. Wow.
No problem, because that's something that I want to share to people as well, because I think I'm becoming who I am today because how my parents taught me from as a kid. And one thing also though, when he asked me like, what did you lead? It's not about competition. It's not about like, do you win over somebody? It's never about that. Leading meaning okay, for example, I was an athlete as a kid. And I was a gymnastic athlete as a kid. So like, for example, when we go to for training, and then and we came early, and then let's say the coach is not there yet, and I would be like, hey guys, let's do our exercise first, like that. So just a simple way of gathering, like making your team wants to do something. I think I learned that from the beginning. So I mean, from childhood. So I don't know why, but I never wanted to raise my hand to be a leader as a kid. I remember that because I'm not really how should I say? I think I was a pretty shy kid, but because of my dad taught me about leadership, I understand what leadership is without being like the one person who always like bossy, you know what I mean? So I know how to lead without being bossy. So I remember as a kid, elementary school, junior high school, senior high school, I was always selected to be, what is it in English? Ketua kelas, head of the class. Head of the class. And then junior high school, I was selected to be like head of the student board, or OSIS. In Indonesia, we call it OSIS. Or I think internationally they call it student board, right? I was the head for the student board in high school. Actually, when they do the selections by class, I walked out from the class because I don't wanna.
You don't want to take the responsibility.
No, not responsibility. I don't want to nominate myself. I don't want to nominate myself. So I walked out, and then when I came back to the class, my name was on it. So
is it like a prank from you?
No, right? It's no. So because they can elect their friends, my teammates can elect their friends. So that's why my name on it. So my take on this, to answer you, I think it's from childhood, I was taught how to be a leader and not a boss. And by doing that, I don't even know how, but I would act naturally to be a leader, even in a class, even with team, even with friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened in the show as well. And I think that's why the candidates, sort of like what you said, respect me from day one, because I didn't boss them around. They would hate me if I boss them around. Who are you, right? But I think in a way, because of what I wanted for the team, they sort of see me as a leader, and they respected me that way. But of course, maybe because of the experience and how I, in the show, it's not just about preaching. You got to do it, right? So I also do the hard work. I I do the nitty-gritty job. So I think that's how I gained the trust in the show, I would say. Yeah.
Wow. You know, I kind of speechless knowing that, because that's a great lessons in there. And, you know, in your situation where, let's say, a bit of politics, a bit of trust to your colleagues, a bit of, you know, combination of, let's say, corporate aspects in there, and you somehow manage to play it well. I'm sure that's just because of the challenges that makes you eliminated. But at the end, Chatri hire you, meaning that, you know, you're not the one, but you are the one. You see?
Yeah. I always call myself that, the one, not the one.
The one, not the one. You should put that on your Instagram profile.
Yeah. Hashtag the one, not the one.
Okay. You know, okay, great. You know, thanks for sharing that journey. And what is also outstanding from you is when I saw this on your LinkedIn, that you became a country manager 3 times in a row under 40 years old, right? And you know, a lot of our listeners on this podcast are corporate men, and including myself. So this is very important. I mean, how do you do that? I mean, I feel like want to know, kind of cheat, so I can do the same.
Okay. So I'll start from that. But in a nutshell, before I go on through my career,
sure,
I think what helps me to be a leader, or, you know, like holds a leadership positions very young, is because I have the courage. I would say that.
Courage.
Because,
okay.
Yes, I have the courage, because I think, you know, we Indonesians and maybe everybody have potential to be leaders, but sometimes what holds us back is our own courage, especially if you are female. Sometimes, you know, and people keep on asking like, oh, do you know, like, how do you feel as a female? And I always said, like, I never see a difference between a female and a male in a job, unless it's a physical thing, of course, because we're built differently as a female and male. But if it's not physical, it's just like work of like thinking and strategic, you know, like regular work. I never see a difference, regardless of gender. Now, to come to your answer, I think what helps me is that from childhood, again, I think a lot was brought up when I was a kid. I was somehow trained to be adventurous and brave, and know how to protect yourself, sort of. Like, for example, I remember I was only elementary school, maybe 6th grader. I don't know, how old were you? Like 12 years old?
12, yeah, 12,
probably,
around that,
right?
yeah.
I remember my dad told me this, my late dad told me this, like, oh, you should have been able to drive by now. And I'm like, huh? Drive a car, you know? Like, huh? Like, by law, you couldn't even have a driver license. But according to him, like, yeah, so if anything happened, you can save yourself for that reason. So that's got into my head. Oh, okay. So I need to be able to, you know, like save myself if there is any emergency. So my head is starting to like build that the how to for me. And growing up, I, like, for example, my parents would let me and my older brother, which is 6 years older than me, during summer break of school, go to we have a family in Netherlands, and we have aunts there. So they would let me and my brother, and I was probably only like, I don't know, 9 years old. And so that would make my brother 15 years old, right? 9 and 15 years old. We flew, just the 2 of us, going to Europe without the parents.
Okay. Yes. Hold on. At what age again? At what age?
Me probably 9 or 10. My brothers were probably 15 or 16. And we just flew
to the Europe alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
My parents. Not many times, but at least once a year. So from that, I gained this adventurous and daring and bravery since childhood. So my friends that knows me for long would know me for being a very adventurous person. Like, I would suddenly just go hike a mountain or join a race or travel alone by train to somewhere, or like and for me, adventure makes me learns about things, open my eyes, open my head, my mind more, but at the same time bring me the confidence. So one thing about being a leader is you have to be confident, right?
Confident, all right.
Yeah, and that's one thing that people, I think I wouldn't doubt that people would probably have the what you call the knowledge, the right, but sometimes your own confidence, especially when you're young, is the one that holds you back. So I think that's what helped me being have the courage to be a leader. And because here's the thing, once you have the courage, the opportunity will come.
Confidence plus courage. Okay.
Yes, and then the opportunity will come. So, and then you will learn by saying yes for an opportunity. And then once you say yes to an opportunity, another bigger one will come. That's what I feel.
In a boardroom, are you feel intimidated by other participants, or maybe from the Kshatriya himself?
Of course. I mean, it's a very intimidating situations, but I think now that's what I learned. I've put myself in a very scary situations a lot of time before by doing adventures, by doing adventures, meaning like, for example, suddenly I go hike Himalaya mountains, which I never trained before. And it's, like I put myself in a very intimidating situations, and I learned how to cope with it so that when it comes, by time, like for in the boardroom, are you scared? Of course, who doesn't, right? It's very intimidating. But the key is how do you still stay calm, and how do you still like be objective at the same time when it is very intimidating. And by the way, when you're a leader, all the time you will be put in a situations where it is intimidating, right? For example, you got to be responsible for whatever business you are handling to your superior. May it be the CEO, or if you're the CEO, may it be the owner of the company, or if it's a public company, to the public, right? So it is very intimidating. So I think, it's in a nutshell, it is something that you have to get used to, and you know how. I mean, you can find a way how to train that for you by putting yourself in a situations where you feel like, oh, I gotta learn more. I gotta, and that keeps you humble as well, because then you don't become a leader who feels like, oh, I know it all. I don't need to listen to anybody. That's I don't think that's a good leader, right? So that's probably that.
Wow, thank you, Paulina. Wow, I really appreciate that, because it's also important for our viewers to learn that, so that they can be a natural leader just like you. And also your parenting tips from your parents, for sure, it's kind of unique, because I never heard that type of question before, in any like parenting books or something like that. Okay, great. That was a great journey. So I'm sure that you must also face a lot of failures, right, along that journey. And
of course,
besides the Apprentice, oh, it's not a failure. Okay, come on. What was the biggest, what was the biggest failures, or your lowest point in life, and how did you bounce back from that?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you ask me biggest, I don't know, but severals, I know there are several.
Okay. All right.
Well, one of them, when I was in my last year in college, I was studying in Bandung. I think it was the fourth year where I'm ready to do the final thesis. And I'm done with the thesis, and it's a time for the, what do you call it in English, sidang. It's the
final. Let's say final test.
Yes, like the final presentations of your thesis, right? Where you're going to be judged, you're going to be questioned on your thesis, and then you will be given like, okay, you pass or you not pass, right? So I was in that moment, and then I was so ready to do the final presentations. And then one of my class, I didn't pass one of the class. So I didn't pass one major, which is calculus. And just because of that, because I didn't pass that, so so the preliminary, the prerequisite is you have to pass all the classes to do the final presentations. So I didn't pass this one class, and I
just one class. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I have to repeat that class. And unfortunately, that class is not offered in that semester. So I have to wait for the next semester. Yeah. Well, not doing anything because I'm done with the thesis. It's not that I'm still doing it. I'm done. I just ready to present, but I couldn't because of this one hurdle. So that's one thing. That's one failure. That's one failure that really holds my journey that back then. And I remember I was so, oh my God, like, and then I would have 5 years to graduate, right? As opposed to 4 years. Right. So it will be in my CV, you know, all of this thing in my head. Right. And my God, like all that. So I was so I feel like I failed. And then, you know, one thing that what comes is that somehow some friends of mine, hey, let's build a coffee shop. Hey, let's do that. So long story short, in 1 year of me idle, what I did with 3 friends, we built our first business. We built a coffee shop in Bandung, and back then that was the year was 2000, so that's 22 years ago. Back then in Bandung there was no Starbucks, and there was no coffee shop like how fancy coffee shop is right now in Jakarta, Bandung, or all over. So we built something that is coming from our needs, and because of that idle 1 year, I built with my friends a business which is successful. We built a brand. So I learned, I was studying engineering, and that was business. So it's new for me, right? And then from that learning, I decided, oh, I actually like business. So I'm going to take my master in business. So one of my failure actually giving me a good path and giving me good learning. You know,
open a new journey for you, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I mean, I can talk more about that, but I mean, just to answer your question, in hindsight, I have many failures, but if I can think of any right now, none of them I regretted. Like all of my failures actually shaped me to be who I am today. You know, like teach me about business, teach me about failure in business, teach me about how if somebody cheated on you in business, you know, like those many things. And I think it's a necessary failures. Yeah.
I see. You know, you may believe or not, but that happened to me as well. You know, when you didn't pass the test of some subjects. You know, I graduated in 2017 because of that. I supposed to graduate in 2016.
Okay.
So I remember that was kind of a bit of depressed, and you know, I kind of isolated myself in another, you know, asrama, you know, a college, studying college. You know, Paulina, I would love to continue this discussion with you. There are so many great insights from our discussion, and I really appreciate you put this session as a your party today. So thank you very much. And you know, seeing how you respond your followers on Instagrams, and surely how you respond to messages as well. I'm sure many people would like to be mentored by you. You are such a humble, communicative leaders, very open. I can feel your compassion as well. So do you have any message to our viewers, especially women, for commemorating you know, International Women's Days on the 8th of March this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So this is especially for women, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So if I can say anything to any female in this world, regardless of age, I would say never, ever in a second doubt your capability, your worth of opportunity just because of our gender. Like literally, because every time I got that question when I was interviewed, like people would ask, can you share the toughness being a female in a leadership position? Can you share that? And I always said, I never see it as a difference. I never see it as a difficulty. So my sharing here is that sometimes we feel that it's a difficulty because we put it in our head. So
it's the mindset, right? Okay.
It's a mindset, yeah. So I mean, yes, of course, as a female, we have differences with male, right? But that use that differences as an opportunity, as an advantage, as opposed to the disadvantages. That's one. Number two, I would say that here's one thing that I learned so much from one of my leader in the past is that before you become a leader, growth is about yourself. It's about how you grow, how I grow, right? Once you become a leader, you think about growth of your team. So that's one thing that really shaped me. Like when I was in a mid-management that time, and my leader, my boss, taught me that. Like when you become a leader now, you start thinking about your team. How do you grow each one of them? And then you will become a great leader. So ever since, then I switched my mindset. Oh, that is true, actually. You know, because previously I've always thinking about how I got promoted, how I achieve one thing, how I grow to be next, etc., how I do bigger things, right? But as soon as you switch your mindset and you put your focus honestly, humbly, genuinely to serve and to sort of like grow other people, especially your team, without you knowing, you were actually elevated. And that's make you become a natural leader that people would just respect you without feeling like, oh, you're bossy, or you know what I mean? So those two things, I think, something that I can share. Yeah.
Okay, great. 2 thumbs for you. That's really inspired, Paulina. Okay, the viewers, I think there are so many good lessons that we can take from this video, and surely you can follow her on her Instagram, and she's very, very responsive. If she's not busy, okay, take this as a disclaimer. And please follow Paulina in Instagram and any other social media as well. And for sure, subscribe this channel if you like it. That's all for me. Thanks, Paulina, again, and see you on our next episodes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.